haven't had a case. And, I think from a country's perspective, we're fortunate in a lot of ways. We're an island with a very small population that has allowed us to sort of handle the situation really progressively, and we've been in lockdown for a period of time, and only in the last sort of week, I think we had maybe 6 weeks or so in lockdown, give or take, and the last maybe week where we've been able to get out, and it has proved to be really, really effective in slowing the spread of the virus to a point, like I say, where we haven't had cases for a few days now, which is great news for us. But it's a challenge for the world to take on together. So as we know, we all function together, and us with the country having achieved what we have is great, but we're certainly very aware of some of the challenges that other countries are having, and like I say, we're thinking of them.
Yeah, true, Kane, because the population here in Bangladesh is huge, and we, as a country size, we are not big enough, but we have a huge population. So the challenges we are facing at the moment is, and our government is facing, because we have a daily earner. There are a lot of poor people who earns daily. So if you put the country in complete lockdown, the poor people will struggle with the food.
Yeah.
So what the government is trying to do is slowly trying to open some sector of businesses, so that at least the poor can earn and at least they can survive. Because if you don't do this kind of thing, then there will be a lot more cases, less cases through corona, and then a lot more through hunger.
Yeah.
So the situation is not great, as you know, but
Yeah.
I'm happy that New Zealand is doing well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so thanks for
that. Ken, I've told you this over the phone. The reason I do this is just to keep people happy for an hour or so. At least they can see us and we can share our stories. And this is the reason I've started doing this live session. I've done it with a lot of international cricketers. I've done it with Virat, Rohit, and Puff, and then it's obviously you and my Bangladeshi teammates. So I'll start. I have a few questions for you. It's nothing serious, all about cricketing stuff, and then we'll get started with it. The first question to you is, Kane, is Brandon McCullum left a legacy in New Zealand team. He was a fantastic captain, and then you have to took over. It's a similar situation with me and Mash, where Mash has done really well as a captain, and then I just got appointed now. So what are the challenges you faced when you first took over as a captain? This is what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that Mish and Brendan both led superbly well for such a long period of time, and from my perspective, it was a great opportunity to learn a lot from Brendan, and a lot of that I think is naturally by being sort of in the presence and seeing how the team operates. And then I think that the challenges when Brendan left, you were obviously you're now playing without him as a player and as a leader, and so it's sort of twofold. I'm sure Mish is still playing, so that's helpful. And one of the challenges, I guess, was we were continuing as a group, and we wanted to continue to grow, and as we all know, people get older, and you're trying to adapt with the people and the personnel that you have, and there's just always change, and sort of embracing that change. You need to be, I believe, authentic with your approach to leadership, and certainly tried and continue to try to do that to the best of my ability, but also as you have and we have in our team with so many other leaders that can offer so much. So making sure that those guys are offering and feel welcome and comfortable enough to help the group with any forms of leadership that they have is all of benefit, and I suppose surrounding that is just wanting to know and see the team move in a direction that you think's important. And as we know in our game, there's a lot you can't control, and there's wins and there's losses and everything in between. But you still know, I think, when the results, when they come and they go, whether you still have a gradual trend, and it's not just judged on the win or the loss. There's a lot more that goes into it, as you know, you've played the game for a long period of time. So, those were a lot of things that I know Brendan was big on, and things that are still really important, I think, to most teams.
Yeah. And I think with Brendan, I've heard a lot of stories that he always used to see a 50-over game as a 40-over game, especially during 2015 World Cup. Is that true? Because I've heard it from a lot of people.
Maybe in his own mind. Sometimes he saw it as a T20, and he'd go out. Sometimes he saw Test cricket as a one-day game even, and he'd go out and score incredibly quickly. But which was brilliant. That clearly was brilliant. It had a huge impact for our side and the success of our side. But what it was Brendan playing his natural game within the role that was important, and that was him to go out and try and win games quickly and make a real, I guess, impact. And whether that came off one day, you knew that he'd come out and go a long way to help you winning a game. If it didn't come off, you knew that there'd be every chance that it'd come off next game. And then, within the team, there's obviously a number of other players that have roles to try and fulfill to help the team in a similar way. But obviously Brendan was so gifted in his approach to the game and his aggressive approach, which really complemented the team in a big way.
Yeah. Thanks. Kane, my next question is: Mirpur should have a very special part in your heart, I think, because that's your first 100, if I'm not wrong, in Mirpur, Dhaka.
Yeah. First one-day 100. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, first experience in Bangladesh, and it was incredibly hot. That's something I do remember. I remember getting a lot of cramp. So I remember after that game knowing that professional cricketers obviously need to make sure that they eat well and they drink well and stay on top of all those things. But that was a tough tour, and you guys as an opponent, particularly in your own conditions, are formidable, and the support that you get, it does make it a real pleasure to play against.
Yeah, it was. I remember I missed the whole series because of injury, but I remember watching that game. I think it was your maybe the second game or the third game, or was it a first game where you got 100?
Third game. I didn't play the first two, and then played the third game, Yeah,
it was a great innings, and this is a lot of young player from Bangladesh wanted to know. It's regarding your preparation. Srini well from Sunrisers, who works for us as well.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing a lot of things that you make sure that you cover every bowler before a game. You prepare for every individual. So if you can please go through about how do you prepare for a T20 game or a ODI game, so that at least our young players can hear and can learn something from this.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at the professional level, you have some video analysis, which I think, for me, I use a little bit of, more observations. I don't try and spend too much time on it, but do look at it a little bit. But I think as a young player, which might be slightly more relevant, would be the preparation perhaps in the nets. And, I think, I guess all the people watching and listening will all be very different in how they play their cricket, and there'll be some dashes such as yourself, Tim, and also some other players that might not have the natural power that a lot of other players have, and so I think it's important that you're trying to work with the strengths that you have, and adapt your game constantly, because the opposition's always changing, the conditions, the pitches are always changing. So trying to, I guess, problem solve and work out how you can have an impact, in sort of as many situations as possible. And don't get me wrong, I think that natural power would be a gift that would be lovely to have, but there were obviously a number of other ways to try and skin it and create an impact of scoring quickly, whether that's still making sure you're getting ones and twos to give you the opportunity to get boundaries. And as we know, sometimes you get on a T20 surface and it's slow, and it may be a 140 type winning score, and you need to be able to adjust the game accordingly, because I think a lot of the time in T20 we get preempted maybe with our ideas, and it's about hitting the ball to the boundary all the time, and sometimes that's not always the best way. So having an open mind, practicing your strengths to use them to create an innings of impact would be, I think, something that's important.
Yeah, true. And Kane, playing late, which something you do really, really well. Is this something that comes naturally to you, or do you practice of playing late?
Yeah, look, I don't think